Hello, friends. Welcome to this edition of the Get CyBUr Smart podcast. I am your host, retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent Darren Mott. In this episode, we are going to wrap up our series on protecting seniors online. This one, we're going to talk about how to proceed wisely. Going to give some examples of some recent cases where folks scam some seniors, just to kind of give an example of how prevalent the issue is. We'll kind of recap how to keep seniors protected, and we'll kind of go from there. So I appreciate you taking the time. I'm live streaming this on YouTube and LinkedIn. I'm going to assume that it's working because I can see movement on my audio stuff, so let's assume that that is the case. Hopefully, if not, someone will text me here in the chat and let me know that it's not working. But anyway, so with that, I appreciate everybody who's taken the time to either listen to the podcast, which is available at all your favorite podcast providers, or who have watched the live stream, who've shared it with others. The podcast, I'm still trying to build that audience, so it's kind of small, but I appreciate anyone who sends this information out. This is, again, the end of our series on protecting seniors online. I'm not exactly sure what series I'm going to do next. I might just do some individual episodes for a while, just on certain topics. Probably next week, I will talk about my favorite topic, which seems to be TikTok. I've getting calls from news stations to talk about TikTok, so that's kind of been exciting. I've kind of enjoyed that, so that's been fun. So if you like what you're hearing with this, share it with others. You can find the podcast on all your favorite podcast providers, and you can find the stream here on LinkedIn and on YouTube at the Get CyBUr Smart channel. So let's get into what we are here for today, and that is wrapping up this particular series on protecting seniors online. So, as we talk about protecting seniors online, I've kind of gone through why bad guys target seniors, how they target seniors, how to protect yourself, or how to protect seniors, rather. And so this episode, I kind of want to talk about, if you take all those things together and you help seniors understand their cyber risk, then ideally they can proceed wisely online. So I want to take a look at a couple examples of some recent cases where some bad stuff happened. So first one, this is a press release from the DOJ about a Florida woman who was arrested for defrauding Holocaust survivor of $2.8 million in connection with romance scams. So this is obviously, romance scams, a huge, huge issue with seniors because, they aren't quite as savvy online. They, have an innate trust of people, which, most people have a trust of people. And so they will, they will be very easily scammed into this. So let me read from this particular DOJ release. This is from Wednesday, January 25th, so just about a week ago. Damian Williams, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, and Mike Driscoll, the Assistant Director in charge of the New York Field Office of the FBI, announced the unsealing of an indictment today charging Peaches Sturgo. Now, there you go. Peaches, that should be the first clue, but anyway, with engaging in a years-long scheme to defraud an 87-year-old Holocaust survivor of his life savings. Sturgo was arrested today, that's January 25th, and presented in the Middle District of Florida. So basically, as the affidavit said, as alleged for years, Sturgo deceived an 87-year-old Holocaust survivor, maliciously draining his life savings so she could become a millionaire through fraud. She forged documents, impersonated a bank employee in exchange for a life of fancy trips, Rolex watches, luxury purchases. This kind of goes on. You can look up this particular case. It's in the there. You can find news articles on it. But again, it goes to show that there's just scammers out there that are just looking to target seniors to steal their money. So really, we have to take a look at all these things, and we have to pay attention to the seniors in our lives and what they're doing in their lives. Are they, if they're by themselves? I don't know if this particular victim had family that was not watching out for him, or he was alone. Certainly, you have those issues. But if you have neighbors, elderly neighbors, look out for them as well, because they may be in this situation you don't realize. And I would argue that banks should be on lookout of this as well. Now, banks are have certain requirements and certain regulations that probably make it harder for them to, question particular transactions. But, ideally they should. I participated a couple years ago with an organization here in Northern Alabama that was sponsored by a bank organization to kind of talk about these things with seniors. So I advise more folks doing that. If you have groups that you participate in, you can contact me. I will do a web call. I will do an online thing. I'll talk to whoever to help protect seniors so they don't become victims online. It won't cost you anything. Just email me. If you look at my LinkedIn page, you can find my phone number. You can feel free to call me, but feel free to do that. Anyway, so number 2 here, this is a Texas man. This is from January 16th, so 2 weeks ago. Texas man admits role in scamming seniors in Rhode Island and elsewhere in online romance scams. So this is a guy who was in Richmond, Texas. His name was Folayima Alibi, 52. He pled guilty in Providence, Rhode Island, in charges of conspiracy, money laundering. Essentially, to carry out his schemes, he was a member of the conspiracy. So it was him and some others. So it wasn't just him. But they befriended unsuspecting seniors online, often posing as a general in the U.S. military serving overseas. The conspirator feigned a personal and sometimes romantic interest in the victims and convinced them to send substantial sums of money, usually in the form of bank checks or cash, to addresses and companies in Texas that were controlled by Alabi. Alabi received the money and either deposited or directed that to be deposited into one of several bank accounts that can be controlled. He then quickly withdrew or transferred the funds to other accounts. So this is both of these examples are good examples of where, fortunately, if the bad guy is in the United States, then he can be arrested and charged and hopefully convicted of these particular crimes. The problem is if he's located overseas or the scammer's located overseas, it makes it much harder, which means we really have to take a look at the seniors in our lives and, again, make them understand the threats targeting them so that you can help them assess their risk and keep them safe online. Third article is just a general news article that is from, I want to give credit to KFDA. I believe that's in Amarillo. That's in Texas. This is from, what is the date on this? This is from January 18th, 2023. So all these are recent news. So the obviously senior scams is not something that's happened long ago and is not happening anymore. It continues to happen today. But basically, this particular article, the reporter is Carice Jackman. So it says senior citizens have long been the target of scammers, but according to the AARP, the rate of elder financial exploitation has more than doubled since 2020. Director of AARP's Bank Safe program, Jolene Gunther, authored a report on elderly financial exploitation and the ways in which they were swindled. She explains further down this article, criminals go where the money is. So when that becomes a popular method of payment and it's so fast, they're going to lean into it, meaning the ability to scam seniors online, get them to send money through wire transfers, through Venmo, pick your payment app of choice, and it becomes obviously a problem. And again, the issue is if the person's overseas doing the scamming, chances are they're not getting arrested. If the money goes overseas, chances are the money's not being refunded. In the other two examples, chances are the money was spent and so there's very little left to recover from a restitution perspective. Finishing up with this particular article, in most instances, a suspected elder abuse, including financial exploitation, you should contact Adult Protective Services in your area, generally a part of the county or state Department of Social Services. So there's ways that you can very quickly get in contact with someone that can help you or direct you to someone that can help. You can find information about reaching your local Adult Protective Services office at Elder Care locator at eldercare.acl.gov. If I was smart, I would have posted that on here, but I did not, so I apologize for that. But you can certainly find that. If you want a copy of any of these PowerPoints I've done as part of this program, feel free to email me. I'll send them to you. Without context, they're kind of minimalist, but feel free to text me with that. So as we recap this, let's take a look at again, how do you improve online security for seniors? This is stuff I talked about last week, but it bears repeating. Educate them. Let seniors know what the scams are. I got an email today claiming that I had renewed my LifeLock for like $400. And if it was incorrect, I should call this particular number to indicate I was no longer interested in having LifeLock. It was a scam. As soon as I called the number, it's a foreign person speaking with a foreign accent. I asked him how the scam was going. He hung up on me, but I should have probably played it out a little longer. I think I did this on one of my episodes a year ago. I may do it again just for kicks and giggles, but I don't recommend you do that. But I'm just saying, these are what's coming. Emails. So if you're a senior on a fixed income, you get an email saying you're going to pay $400 for a service you don't expect. You're going to call the 888 number and probably be scammed by the person on the other end. This happened to me last week. I called the number and I could hear people in the background talking legitimately to probably victims. So this is ongoing, continues to go on. So again, help seniors develop strong passwords for their critical accounts, email, social media, financial accounts, the three big ones. Set up multi-factor authentication, make them understand what good, safe social media habits are. help them keep their devices updated, and show them how to block phone numbers and text. If they get calls out of the blue that are used to ideally scam them, then they should block those numbers or texts so that they don't continue to receive them. So those are just, again, the tips, rehashing those to kind of look at. Here's things you can do, again, to keep seniors safe. So it's going to take us all. This is, if we do not participate in the protection of our kids, which is my first series, and our seniors, they're going to continue to be victimized. And so we have to look out for those seniors. Ideally, and this is where I'm going to ask for you folks' help that are watching this. If you found value in just these quick five, short episodes of this podcast and would like something more expansive where I kind of go into more depth on some of this stuff, there's a lot of educational resources out there. I realize the market is full. But I was a former teacher, former FBI agent. I can kind of take those things together. I can talk about examples. So I'm looking to take this 5-episode podcast series and create a longer educational format with tools and documents that you can use, again, to give you more information, to share with the seniors in your life, to give to them so that they can protect themselves. If that's something you think is interesting or would make sense, feel free to email me at, there's my email over there. Darren at thecyburguy.com. You can watch this live stream on YouTube or LinkedIn. And if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, it's linkedin.com/in/Darren Mott. I think I'm at 2,970 followers. I'm almost at the 3,000 mark. So if you're on LinkedIn and you want to throw me a follow, that would be great. If you could throw me a follow with the podcast, that'd be fantastic. Subscribe. That helps me out. And also, check out my other podcast, The CyBUr Guy. That is released periodically as well. And so you can certainly, why is that not working? There we go. So you can find the CyBUr Guy on all your podcast outlets as well. Thanks so much for watching the live stream, listening to the podcast, whichever route you took. Again, email me if you have questions or comments. Know that knowledge is protection. If we can understand the threats targeting us, we can assess our risk online. We can then proceed wisely. Thanks so much again. I hope to talk to you soon, or hope to either through your computer or in your podcast vehicle.